to all you lovely flossy friends who live in my phone. Welcome to Flosstube number 9. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Pam. I live in the northeast of Scotland with my partner Bruce and with my daughter Ailey, who's currently at home having just finished working a year at Walt Disney World in Epcot doing the Cultural Representative Programme. We live in the northeast of Scotland, and yeah, I can't live without cross stitch. So this is my little corner of Flosstube, of YouTube, where I talk about cross stitch at length. Sometimes I'll talk about other crafts as well, but today it's all cross stitch I've got for you. So welcome back if you're a returning visitor. I've always said it's the biggest compliment you can pay me is to come back. It makes my heart so happy, and I'm very, very grateful and appreciate that you choose to spend some time with me. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm delighted that you found your way to me, be it by the algorithm gods being kind to me, be it by a recommendation, or just by pure fluke that I've appeared on your screen. Either way, I am very excited to have you here. So here we are, Flosstube number 9. It is Tuesday, the 2nd of September. Although, given how slow YouTube has been at uploading videos recently, it'll probably be Wednesday the 3rd, before this actually appears. I know it's not just me. Other people have commented about how slow their videos are uploading as well. So I'm not going to take it personally. As much as I have had tech issues in the past, I think this one is not personal. So I have, as always, got copious notes because these days, as a woman of a certain age with a midlife memory, Dory looks pretty good compared to me at the moment. So I've got lots and lots of notes to keep me on track, and hopefully so I don't forget anything. I've got lots to share with you this month. We've got 19 pieces of stitching. I've got plans. I've got lovely people who have razzled my berries this month, people who I have watched Flosstubes that have made me really happy, that there's something that's jumped out at me, and of course I've got a Scottish word of the day for you. So lots first to cover. I will try to get through it at a slightly better speed than normal, so I'm just moving something in because I've realised I hadn't already. So yeah, I've got quite a big pile to the side of me here. So yeah, let's get going. The first thing I've got one FFO. As I said, I've stitched on 19 things this month, which is quite a lot in 1 month. Some of which you would have seen earlier in the month. I kind of did a mid-month recap, and now this is my kind of like August in kind of like retrospect. So I do have new starts to show you. I got a reasonable amount of stitching done. I stitched every day of the month, which is always a good thing. It makes my heart very, very happy. I didn't get round to trying one of the embroidery kits that I showed you. I don't think it was last time, was it the time before? And I didn't get to play with any felt this month, which I had intended to. But life, you know, we all know what it's like. Life intervenes and you just kind of get on with it. But I do have a lot of cross stitching. As I said, I've got one FFO for you, which you're not going to be surprised about. Excuse me. I've got a tickle. Not a great start. Here we go. So yes, this is my FFO for the month. You see this at the start of every month. It's Crocette GoGo, La Finestra del Tempo, their monthly series. So we have September with a ridiculously cute little prickly hedgehog sitting on his toadstool. We've got books, we've got an acorn, we've got autumn leaves, and a basket full of goodies. We've got more mushrooms, toadstools, and apples in there. It just seems crazy that I'm ready to start the October one again. Where has this year gone? I know lots and lots of people have been saying that. Summer just seems to have gone in a flash. This is not a bad thing. We are now into the burrs. Welcome to the best time of the year. Just love the burrs. Ailey has already been decorating the house. We've got fall decor all over the hallway, and her bedroom has been transformed as well. She just couldn't wait. She was up in the loft dragging things down. Bruce is away just now, so he's going to come back to find the house transformed because we both very, very much love this time of year. We've got a poorly sick car at the moment. It's in poorly sick car hospital with possibly a very large bill when we get it back at some point, hopefully in the next few days, because she's got some breakfast shifts coming up that she needs to get to the next town over in. So we're kind of like grounded at the moment. And it's driving us nuts, because normally this time of the year we'd be going around all the garden centres and all the nice home decor shops and enjoying all the lovely decor they have available. And Ailey normally manages to talk me into getting a fair bit of it as well. So we can't do that this year, which is a little bit frustrating, but there's always next week, you never know. So yes, this is my one FFO. This goes up on a board with magnets on it, gets changed around every month. So yeah, only 3 more to go and that series is done. So that is my only FFO. I do have other finishes, ones that I had originally planned on getting FFO'd, but I've changed my mind for a variety of reasons. So we'll do that as we get to it. So she says, referring to her notes, let's get on with that now. So the first of 4 finishes I've got to show you is this one. It's Dragonfly Dreams by Silver Creek Samplers. I just love it. I've done my usual thing of being a bit nipped at the edge. This is what happens when you have one piece of fabric that you want to get lots and lots out of. And you cut things a little bit on the nippet side. But it fits and it will work. That's plenty of space to fold over and do something with. I know how I would like to mount this, to finish this. I just haven't got all the gubbins that I need yet. Once I've got access to a car and I can hopefully go to our local fabric shop, because I'm not quite sure what colour I want, because the Dragonfly itself is very blue, the writing is quite green, and this is the gorgeous sea glass fabric, the fabric flare. It's a 32 count even weave, which I'm just trying to see if you can see. I've got the ring light of doom on today. I hate it. I don't like it at all. But I'm just hoping it's not blowing that colours out. It's looking quite peely-wally there. But yeah, so it's kind of a bluey green. So I don't want to just order fabric. I actually want to go in and hold it against stuff and see how I get on. So that hopefully by the next time you see it will be FFO'd. Well, it will be FFO'd by the next time you see it, because you won't be seeing it until it is. So that's my first finish. The second one is one that I love. I love all of these. Don't stitch things I don't love. It's Hands on Design, Ladybug Picnic. It's not a case of my phone listening to my conversations, because that happens to all of us. You know, you talk about something and all of a sudden adverts start appearing for that very thing. This is possibly me maybe manifesting things, or it's along the lines of, you know, when you're thinking about getting a new car and you're thinking what you'd like, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. In the last couple of weeks I have seen this Ladybug Picnic on 4 different floss tubes. I've seen it Crystal, PNW Crafter, I've got a note here, Carissa, who's a Low Country needleworker, Laura at La Laddie Stitches, and Sarah at Handmade by Sarah W. They've all shown this in the last couple of weeks as finishes. Carissa's is an FFO. It's lovely finished the way she's done it. She's kind of got round mount and then a square frame with fabric, and it's lovely. But this is the only one I've seen on this colour. Everybody has been quite traditional and gone for this. Was it pomegranate? I think it was the called for fabric. I've gone for this, which is blueberry. It's 32 count fibre on the whim Lugana in blueberry, which it's reading quite blue there. It's got a kind of, it's a purpley blue when you see it in real life. It's beautiful fabric. I'd got it for Halloween projects and it wasn't dark enough. So I've over-dyed a whole lot of it. In fact, you'll see a little bit later on. But I've got enough left. I've done this. I've got Botanical Bee to show you in a little while. And I've got enough left for a third one, in the hope that we are blessed with another addition to the set. I've got enough fabric tucked by. Just things should be displayed in threes, in odd numbers. So that is my finish of Ladybug Picnic by Hands on Design. I've used the cold for colours apart from one thing up here where you've got the pink of those petals. It's originally charted in kind of like a pale blue, which just did not pop on this fabric at all. So I've done it as pink, and also when it was the pink in the 4 petals in the corners and then the white square in the middle, it looked a little bit like a disjointed gingham, which for some reason didn't happen in the blue. So I just put little centres in those flowers just so that they look like flowers. I've also added in down here, I don't know if you can see, there's an extra little trail of pink. There's kind of these trails of pink around. There's ones here. Just because I kind of felt it needed to fill in that space a little bit. But they are sewn separately, so if I don't like it when I go to mount it, they'll pop out easily enough. But better have them in and take them out than realise afterwards that I wish I'd put them in. So the next one I've got is Primrose Cottage. You've seen me stitch lots from this series before. It's the Kisses series, where there's lots of different subjects, and there's something and something kisses. So here we have got Summer Wishes and Bumblebee Kisses. I'm trying to think, did you see this as a whip? Mid-month. I don't know that you did. It's stitched on 14 count honeycomb from Fabric Flare. It's a printed even weave. Ada, I'm telling you lies, it's 14 count. I'm wishing I'd done it on the even weave because it's also available in that. Just because I prefer the look of an even weave. I actually really quite enjoy stitching on Ada. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm not a snob about it. I find it quite a relaxing, easy stitch. But I much prefer the look of even weave, I do confess. Unless it's black, in which case I'm always going to stitch an Ada. The thought of black even weave does horrible things to me. But yes, you've seen this series before, and you know that they normally fit quite nicely in some little plywood frames I took back from Joanne's when, rest in peace, when we were over in the States in December. I haven't done this one yet because this is one of 3 bee stitches. The other one's an FFO I'm just about to show you, and there's one which isn't quite finished yet, and I thought I'd rather just finish them all at the same time. Would make life easy for myself. And actually I should have said that the Ladybug picnic, sorry, not Ladybird, in the UK they're Ladybirds, Ladybug picnic, I haven't finished it yet because I'm waiting on finishing the bee, Botanical Bee, and doing them at the same time because they'll be together. I haven't got the patience to wait for a third one to get those 2 finished at least. So yeah, this one, it's not going to be out on display anytime this year. It'll be possibly May time before it comes out next year. So I've got plenty of time. I'm not rushing to finish it until I have got all the ones in that set done. I've got plans of doing little smalls and all that as well, so I'd rather do them all at the same time. So that's Primrose Cottage, Bumblebee Kisses. And my last finish, as I said, is another bee one. That's this one, stitched on the same 14 count honeycomb from Fabric Flare. And this one is Bumble Honey Company. This was actually quite a quick stitch. It was an easy enough stitch. There's no problems with it at all. Like I say, it's fine stitching over Ada. It's quite a good one to do when I don't need to focus too much. I kind of would stitch on this one first thing in the morning when I wasn't really quite awake. This one, oops, came with me to Craft Club because it was an easy stitch to get on with there while I was blathering away to my pals. So yeah, this one I imagine will be finished as a flat fold, but it has got a companion piece to go with it. So as I said, I'm going to finish those at the same time. So that's my 4 finishes. And I've now got 3 new starts for you, of which 2 I mentioned already. But the first one is actually a restart. I started it earlier in the month. I didn't like the colour I'd chosen, so frogged it. Here's Pedro. And redid it. This is Lemon Study by Yasmin's Made with Love. It's a reasonably new chart. She released it, must have been very early in the summer. Yeah, I think it was early summer rather than late spring. There's a series of them with different fruits and it's gorgeous. I've seen lots of different versions of this stitched. on lots of different colours of fabric and all sorts. Just, it's beautiful. And I just took to it straight away. I've got lemon stuff to do a tier tray, and I thought, oh, that would just go nicely with that. So that was my plan. I would do it on this lovely green, which is a 32 count even weave, unnamed, from Coffee Craft Fabrics. It's beautiful. I've got another little bit of it left. It's such a gorgeous fabric. The mottling is showing up possibly a little bit darker there than it is in real life, a little bit more mottled. It's possibly slightly more subtle in real life, but it's lovely. So I'm trying to think what I originally started stitching this in. If you hold on 2 seconds, I've got it out. I started trying it in Weeks Dye Words Sally Sunset, which is beautiful. But I'll show you. I can show you exactly what it is. That's it here, which looks like it would be plenty bright enough. But when you've got that at 2 threads, and it's going on for a reasonably intense green, it was lovely where the variegation was at the dark bit, but on the light bit it just disappeared into the fabric. So, and I'd kind of done a bit of the top border, and I just started, I hadn't done the inner border at that point. I thought, no, I'm not going to cash on with it, it's just not working. So eventually frogged it, and I got another yellow, which I don't have to hand. I'm trying to think what it's called. Gentle Arts Goldenrod, which is a bit, got a bit more punch to it, and it's showing up beautifully there. It's such a lovely stitch. I'm loving this whole monochrome stitching thing. I think I've got plans going forward, maybe not in the next couple of months, of having a day where I just do monochrome stitching, because it's so relaxing. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Again, not in a huge rush to get it done, because it won't be out until next summer. So yeah, it'll just tick away in the background as and when, but I'm loving it, and I love this fabric. I just love this fabric. So that is Lemon Study. My next new start, no surprise, Botanical Bee. She's a sweetie, she's so pretty. Part of me kind of wishes I'd done this one first, because it's a slightly more straightforward stitch than the other one, but I enjoy both of them. I'm doing this on the same fabric, the same Blueberry from Fibres and Whim, 32 count even weave. That's where I've got to. I've got her body done, and kind of the vine that runs along the bottom there. You've got the 2 flowers at this end and the 2 skips at the other side. So yeah, I'm trying to think what she's at. I should have said, sorry, Lemon Study is at 575 stitches, but puts it at a very, very annoying 15.99%. But I wasn't starting another thread for the sake of 0.01%. This one, we've got 768 stitches in, which is 38.69%. So I shall quite happily poodle away at this one over the next few weeks. No huge great rush, but it's really enjoyable, and I'm excited to see it finished. Her back here will pop a bit more because there's vines to kind of go in between those flowers. But yeah, I just love these, and I'm desperately hoping for a third one in the series. So my last new start is the one that matches, is Cherryhill Stitchery, that matches the Bumble Honey Company. This one is Bumblebees and Flowers, Please. And again, it's a lovely one. It's a reasonably straightforward stitch. I find this one slightly more tedious, isn't the right word, but I think stitching one straight after the other, a break probably would have been helpful. But in fact, I'll keep that there to show you. I'm using the same colours, which are it's just Floss from Stash. Sorry, I should have said the Botanical Bee is again called for DMCs. So yeah, this is Floss from Stash, the same as the other one, the same colour, so that they go nicely as a pair together. I'm loving the way this skip turned out. That is Weeks Dye Works Whiskey, and then there's, I'm trying to think, is it Palomino or Driftwood? I think it's Driftwood lines in there as well, but I just love the way that's turned out. So yeah, I don't have a huge amount to do. I've got to finish that border at the bottom. There's some more flowers and bees to go in this space here, and then the flower border repeats at the top. But as I've said, I'm in no great rush for that one. It's not going to be out for a while. So that's my new starts. I can get rid of a sheet of paper. Go me. So whips. Okay, we'll start off the one with, it's the one that's been for some reason catching me up. I've been so indecisive about how I want to do this and about choosing what flosses you use and that kind of stuff. But I just need to knuckle down and do it. I overthink at Olympic level, and it's very much shown in this, but we're getting there. This is the Emerald City stitch along that Jen from Jen Stitchy Corner has arranged. As always, I'll put the details for the stitch along and everything else down below. We're currently on the second part of it. If you haven't come across this chart before, it's a free chart from Owl Forest Embroidery. This is it here. It's a free chart, and it was a previous stitch along in 2019, I think it was. So it's already divided into 11 sections. And the first section here is the house, coming across the tornado, and to Dorothy and wee Toto there. I'll take it in a bit closer so that you can see it. I'll fit it all in, but yeah, there we go. So that's where I've been working, and currently it's this bit. It's the, is it the Good Witch of the North or the South? I can't remember. It's the one that doesn't appear in the film. That's Glinda up there, but I can't remember which one is north and which one is south. So yeah, the current section is the Good Witch, the Scarecrow. We've got a crow here, and we've got some corn growing. So that's what I've got to do over the next few weeks. And then I think I could be telling you porkies. I think maybe section 3 is here with the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. So that is a stitch along. I've left this one on my Q snap. Hope that's okay. I was running out of boards to put things on. So this is where I am at. Now the mottling on the fabric is showing up really bold there. It's not that in your face in real life. So this is where we're at. You've seen this before, and I've told you before, I'm not entirely convinced by my colour choices so far. There might be things being, sorry, I'm just trying to get that fabric out of the way, frogged and restitched. But last time you saw it, I just had the house and the tornado, and I didn't have Dorothy. Did I have Toto? I can't remember. But Dorothy is certainly new to you. And I have been very, 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 very fortunate that the fabulous Garrett, the coffee stitcher, let me use his rechart of Dorothy compared to the one that's in the original chart, which is there, you can see her. So I am doing mine kind of more faithful to the film. Garrett's doing his for the animated series. He's already stitched this as per the Sal back in 2019, so he's restitching it with the characters from the animated series, which is very, very different. He's recharting it to pay homage to that, which is fabulous. He's got the best Scarecrow, it's so good. So he had recharted Dorothy, and I had loved how he had done it, and asked if I could have permission to use it, and he very, very kindly said yes. So thank you so much, Garrett, I really appreciate it. I've changed it up slightly, because obviously different dresses and that. So although Dorothy's dress is gingham in the film, it kind of reads as blue, and I didn't like the whole blue, white. I could have done it 1/1, but I would have lost the will to live. I've done the flesh tones 1/1, and it wasn't the most fun experience of my days. full credit to you guys who do 1/1. This is over a 28. I've chosen a 28 because I'm going to put beads on it, so they'll sit better on a 28. But for you guys who do 1/1 over 25s and 28s, I think you're absolutely barking mad. It does look good. But yeah, so the flesh tones are 1/1 full cross. They're quite subtle. It kind of disappears slightly into the fabric, but it's enough. I'm happy enough with it. I'm not redoing it. The only thing I found worse than doing 1/1 with DMC was doing 1/1 in metallic. This is DMC Diamond in D321 for her ruby slippers. As I said, I'm doing mine based mostly on the film. So here, rather than having, again, I'll show you the original. In the original, you have the witch with kind of white shoes and Dorothy with the same. But if you remember in the film, once the house lands on her and Glinda appears, she starts off that she's wearing the ruby slippers with her black and white stripy stockings, which again is done 1/1. That's a new edition as well. So that's 1/1. But when they look at her and look at the ruby slippers disappear off her feet, and her legs and feet just kind of curl up and retreat underneath the house and disappear. And all of a sudden, Dorothy is wearing the ruby slippers. So she gets them at that point in the movie, just kind of as they've landed, much can land in Oz, she gets them at the very start. So that's why I have given Dorothy ruby slippers here. As I said, in Diamond. Toto, I think, is possibly too black. He might be coming out yet. We'll see. So there are two elements. There's a big element here and one here. I haven't put those in because chances are I'm going to do those in beads, and I'm going to do all the bead work at the very end so that it doesn't get squished in the frame. So that is that one. So that's the Emerald City style. As I said, there's plenty of time to join in if you want to. The sections aren't huge. They're easily catch-upable. So we'd love to have you come along and find us either on Instagram or Facebook. There's a dedicated Facebook group. And the second whip I've got to show you is just a flying visit, because you've seen this since it's been done, but it's just because it's part of my August stitching. This is my big toe time to stitch the Serenity-ish prayer. I'll give you it there. And it reads, God grant me the ability to stitch the stash I have, to have the stash I want, and the time to stitch it all, which is, I'm sure, a prayer we all share. This is a stitch along I'm doing with Catkin and Lily, her Patreon group. Nothing has changed since you saw this mid-month. I've got the two top lines of that in. I'm thinking the next section I'm probably going to tackle that border, which is going to take me a lot longer than just stitching that text is. So that's just a flying visit. Sorry, I should have said that the Emerald City is 28 count, even we did say that. It's Picture This plus Jade, which is gorgeous fabric. I'm really, really happy with it. As I said, it doesn't read quite as in your face in real life. And this is a 32 count fabric flare even weave in grey swirl. So again, it's quite subtle. So that's that. So my next whip, again, you've seen everything that I'm about to show you before now, but everything has had more stitches put in it now. So that's this one. It's another Silver Creek Rainbow Crossing, which is my my memorial piece for pets that have passed, beloved of our babies, hairy bairns. So that is my next stitch, and this is where I'm at. Now, last time you saw this, okay, it's too big for me to peek around. Last time you saw this, I had finished the bridge, the water, apart from a tiny bit of rock I'd managed to mix out, which I filled in. I had done that, the two trees, I'd done all of this hill, but not the rainbow. The bridge, most of the grass, think I was about halfway, or had I finished that tree? And I had just started with the wood on this tree here, and my plan had been to try and get the tree finished so that the ground was all done, and then possibly make a start on the rainbow. But I was enjoying it so much that I finished the rainbow, and then I did the sun and some of the clouds. This also means that these colours don't appear again, so I can put them away back in my stash for any other project that I might need them on. So that is where I'm at. Going back to the print, you'll see that all I have left, she says all, is some clouds across here, which are outlined in the grey colour and then filled in white. So I've just got the outline there, and then 2 rows of text above and beyond, below even. I'll try and get my words. And there's some little hearts tucked in there as well. So the main solid part of the landscape is done. That being said, I'm not even halfway through yet. I'm at 39.33%. I added in 1,465 stitches this month, and that still doesn't even quite take me to 40%. And I think the stitching will probably slow down now, because it's not those kind of big areas of grass and water and that kind of thing. But I will keep plodding away on that. I've kind of decided that I'm not going to work on the same whip 2 months in a row, so that I kind of get more of a rotation of different things coming in. So it might be a couple of months before you see that one again, but hopefully there'll be more progress done. I've got another previous whip here, which is one that I started on June 12th for Ailey's birthday. It's called Gathering Bright Blooms. As I've said before, I did this as a birthday start for her because she is my bright bloom, who brightens my days, and she was still in Florida at this time. So we couldn't celebrate together. It's the first year we hadn't been able to celebrate her birthday together, so it seemed right to do it. I love it. I love it. As soon as I saw this this chart come out at Marketplace at the start of the year, I was like, oh, I need. Wasn't I want, it was I need, and I just love it. So last time you saw this, I'd finished the middle rows. That was what I did in June, was the whole of the middle row. Earlier this month, I put in the 2 dotted lines and this 2 flowers and a little bit of this one. Just trying to think, had I put the... Yeah, I think I had put the dotted lines in, yeah. So my aim for the second half of the month was to finish this flower and finish these yellow and orange tulips here. I have no idea why, but oh, what a stress I had stitching these. I just could not get it right. I frogged as much as I stitched. Pedro did not help me there. I think I possibly boobed with Pedro. My intention had been that he would be territorial and he would be my only frog. He would see off any other frogs that kind of tried to creep into this space. I think I went for the wrong approach. I think he's so cute that the other frogs kind of want to come and hang out with him because he's a bit of a babe. I kind of like, you know, he's the main frog around town and they all aspire to be as awesome as Pedro. We'll see. But yeah, certainly these caused me problems and I got a bit fed up at one point, put it down and then came back to it. But they're done now. And they look lovely. I'm very happy. So I'm stitching this on a 32 count even weave, not an even wive, an even weave. It's self-dyed because I wanted it really, really, really dark. It's not hugely mottled. It's not reading very well there. It's quite a rich blue. It's not navy. It's quite a rich blue. I've got some marks down here that you can see, which I'm really disappointed about. I've figured it's not the hoop, it's actually where it sits in my Lowry. Only seems to happen on dark fabrics. So I've now kind of put a bit of sponge in between the fabric and the Lowry, but it's far enough out that it's not going to affect it when I get this framed. So yeah, that's where we're at. So I love this. The original plan had been to make sure it was up in time for her next birthday. I'm not patient enough to wait that long. I'm going to have to try and be good and work on the border down here rather than getting on to do the flowers next. I'm going to eat my veg and do the border, the grunt work, before I head up and do those flowers. So that is gathering bright blooms from Robin Pickens. I just love it. It's one of my favourites. It's quite a tight 32 because I've over-dyed it a couple of times to get it to the intensity that I wanted, and it's kind of shrunk and shrunk and shrunk every time, but I just love it. Now, if you've been here before, you'll know that I have a soft spot for a blue fabric. Never met blue fabric I didn't like. In fact, I should have said, I'm really good at forgetting things until after the event. This one is Cloud Spring Sky from Fabric Flare. I've actually got another piece of this, hopefully arriving tomorrow, for another project that you will see next time we meet. So yes, I do like a blue fabric. I've got a soft spot for a blue fabric. You will see that quite a lot in my stitching. So the next project I've got is on a blue fabric. Spoiler alert. And that's this one here. It's Shannon Christine's Sunflower Sign, which is shown here on black, which is lovely. But I wanted it on blue. I've got bits of this blue fabric left, and I've got another Shannon Christine chart, which is, it's a big chart with like lots of sections. It's all kind of bee related. And my intent is to do bits of the chart as smalls on the blue fabric to make into little pillowfishes or something like that. So that's the plan. So last time you saw this, the central sunflower was done, and a bit of the white of the picket fence. And my intention had been, my plans for the rest of this month were to get the other two sunflowers done so that you had the row of 3 across the middle. I wasn't in the humour for it. I wanted to carry on, bash out this picket fence, do the green along the bottom. It's kind of like got little white bits through, and it's got a fancy scalloped edge to it. So I got one of the sunflowers done. I've just got this one to do. Now, when I spoke to you about this earlier in August, I said I was a bit disappointed that the sunflower centres just seemed a bit pale. They didn't have the punch that comes with a sunflower. We've just thrown out a beautiful bunch of sunflowers today, and they've got a really dark centre that just didn't come across here. And I said that I would possibly go back in and put some dark brown beads in the centre once I'd stitched the whole thing. I don't think I'm going to do it. I actually really quite like it. Now that the second one is in and there's a bit more to it, I'm quite liking it, the colour it is. And I will possibly just leave it. I'm going to stitch the whole thing and see when I'm finished. But I'm not offended by it at all. So this fabric, this is a Pictureless Plus 28 count in Twilight. Again, it's got a nice bit of mottling going on there. And it's just lovely with the yellows and the greens. I'm really happy with it. It's almost the full width of the design. You can see there's the first couple of white cubes in there. There's a border that goes all the way around it. I'll show you again. So yeah, I've kind of got one bit of the border in that goes all the way around. So we're almost at the full width of it there. So it's not a huge piece by any stretch. It's only going to be there. So again, that's possibly even a little bit of fabric that I might be able to steal a tiny little bit of to do a small. Maybe not. I possibly could have oriented it the other way and got some more fabric out of it, but that's okay. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this one. I'm really happy with it. I think it looks much nicer. Now, this isn't a stitch, this is a mock-up, as a lot of Shannon Christines are. Sorry, I've got hair in my... it's a mock-up, they are printed, it's not a sample stitch. But I think in real life, it's coming up much nicer than the picture. And I'm delighted. It will be going away for a while. I'm in no rush to get this done. It doesn't need to be done until next September, next summer even. So yeah, it'll possibly get tucked away for a few months. I'm feeling the fall. I'm all about the autumn stitching at the moment. So a lot of these summer ones, I'm sad to see them go, but I'm happy to move on to something new. I get those lovely rich russet tones. So that one will probably go away. So I've got another summary stitch for you. Now, I showed you earlier the finish I had of Dragonfly Daydreams, Dragonfly Dreams, I'm telling you lies, from Silver Creek Samplers, which I'm delighted with. And it was being stitched alongside another Dragonfly project on the same fabric, that beautiful Fabric Flare 32 count sea glass, with the same palette of threads. I finished that Dragonfly one. This one will take a lot longer. This is a slow stitch. This is a combination of cross stitch and black work. Last time, I'm just trying to think, I was kind of about there. Yeah, so I've kind of got another quarter done, because I don't think I'd finished all of this. So I've actually made a little more progress on this than I thought I would, but it's slow going. It is slow going. There's you're chopping and changing between cross stitch and black work. Some of it's in 2 strands, some of it's in 1 strand, chopping and changing colours. It's not a quick stitch. It's nowhere near as quick as a normal cross stitch to do. So I'm quite happy. I've left this one on the frame because it's reasonably nippet to fit in this frame, because I don't want to be messing around with it. So yeah, I've got 1 Dragonfly still to do. 2 of the corner flowers. Now this is the original picture of it. So as you can see, I've kind of changed up the colours in a few places to suit my whims. I hammed and hawed about putting that border around it. It's just a 1 cross border the whole way around, and then it's back stitched on both sides. I thought, oh, I don't know that I need it, but I am thinking I probably will do it. It'll be soul destroying to do. It'll be a proper eat your veg. It'll be eat veg that you don't like. That's eating peas. But I just think if I do that in the blue, it'll pull out this blue, because the pink is reflected out here, the green is reflected out here, and I just think that putting blue around it will just pull it all together. I'll wait till all the inside is done. I've got some different size square mounts that I'll pop on top of and see how I'm feeling. But at the moment, my gut is telling me that yes, it possibly will look a little better with that border around it, as tedious as it will be to do. Which is infuriating in a way, because as I would imagine you all know, trying to finish something that's got very definite straight lines without that becoming distorted as you're lacing it, it's not the most fun, and it's really not easy to get it where those lines are nice and straight and square. But hopefully with some patience and a little bit of luck, I'll do a reasonable job of it. Again, this one is very summery feeling. This one will be framed, I think. As I said, I've got mounts for it. And it will go alongside the other Dragonfly. That being said, I might change my mind and do it as a flat fold. Because as I said, I'm planning on trying to get some fabric to do my finish of Dragonfly Dreams, and I could put this in a flat fold that's got the same fabric on it. So we'll see. That's a future planned decision. It's not something I need to think about now. So that is that. My next one, again, I love this one. I'm stitching this in DMCs. I'm kind of wishing I'd used overdyed for this with scalps of white, and also because there's so much text, but it is what it is. I'm still happy enough with it. I love those seagulls. As I mentioned last time, we've got a thing in the family about the Disney Pixar seagulls from Finding Nemo. Mine. There's definitely a kind of in-joke in our family about those. So these just make me happy. Although they are levitating at the moment. They are, obviously they've been at the pub because they are legless. They are tipsy seagulls. They are legless. But I want to get in all of the blue at the bottom there before I put their legs in, because they're standing on top of it, and I don't want to be doing their little feet and then cross stitching and trying not to mess their little feet up. So I will finish that first. If I just show you closer. So where I'm at, I've still got all those kind of goldfish to go around, and there's lots of little Smyrna crosses, kind of a red colour here, and then there's white ones up here. I finished the text. I don't know if you remember from last time, if you were here last time, I got almost all the text done. I kind of got to the point where it all kind of converged and it was out, and I unpicked most of it. Very, very demoralised. But I got it frogged and restitched before you saw it last time. So because I've had so many different things to work on, I haven't done quite as much. But then my plans when we spoke last time were just, I'd got one of these seagulls done and I had the beak of his pal because it was easy just to jump across. But I didn't have any of this 3 in. So we're kind of like there last time you saw it. So I've put in the 3 seagulls. This one's sitting on a post, and I've started on some of the water as well. So original plan was just him. So I'm happy enough with what I've achieved. Can't decide about this one. I have a feeling it might stay in rotation. I'm in no rush to do this one, as I've said a few times to you before. I don't want her to move out. I don't want my baby to move out. I'm loving having her home. I'm loving it so much. But eventually Ailey will want a house of her own, a home of her own. And her bedroom will be coming coastal themed. This room has got lots of coastal decor in it just now. That will all be going into Ailey's room. So that will be going in there. But given her current plans of travelling a bit more, she's not going to be moving out anytime soon. It seems pointless for her to pay for the expense of a home of her own if she's never going to be there. So she's just as well staying here, and we'll enjoy having her home while she's here. So yeah, so as a result, there's not going to be any rush to get that done. I could put it up somewhere in here, but I'm not entirely sure where there's space because I've got so many. I've got wooden fishies and all sorts of things in here. So yeah, that one might come back out. It might not. It'll just come in slow time. It'll be if the mood takes me, it'll be that kind of stitch. So my next one, again, it's coastal themed. Lots and lots of you, I'm sure, know this stitch. Atlantic Shore from Pigeon Coop. I finally got around to starting this one. I've been planning it for ages and ages and ages. Because this is like the coastline not far from us. Just a few miles. And my hope had been that one day Ailey and I would get to do some alfresco stitching and go, and I could work on this at the beach that I'm thinking of. But unfortunately with car problems, because we were limping with the car for a considerable few weeks before she finally died a death and had to go to Poorly Sick Car Hospital. So we've never got there yet. So Last time you saw this, I had done the 2 rows of the blue waves at the bottom, and I had started, I'd done a little bit of the tree, and my plan had been to take it up to this layer of grass, and that I have done. There we go, and that's it done. And I love it. I had to force myself to stop at that point because I was just enjoying it so much. I would have carried on stitching and stitching and stitching. I'm not quite so much loving all the fractional stitches, but they are absolutely worth it to make these waves look the way they do. But there's just something about this stitch. It's so nice to work on. I'm stitching this on a 28 count even weave. As I mentioned last time, it's not my favourite even weave at all. It's very, very thin. It feels way more like a little linen than it does an even weave. But it's fine. I mean, when you look at the chart, most of it's going to be hidden. It's only these kind of single rows, the kind of typical Max Pigeon style that uses negative space to define elements. There's not a huge amount of the even weave going to be showing through there. But oh, I just love it. I just love it. So yeah, although it's a coastal one, it probably will stay in rotation just because I love it so much. And I've got so many more Max Pigeon stitches planned that if I'm not careful, I could end up with a lot of whips. I'm probably best to try and get a few knocked out of the park before I get too carried away. Which leads me nicely to the fact that I have another Max Pigeon as my next whip to show you. This is the Quebec Seasons. A set of 4 little vignettes of the same scene through the 4 seasons of the year. Obviously a location somewhere in Quebec. He has lots of these little vignettes from different parts of Canada. There's loads and loads and loads of them, and they're fabulous. I've looked at lots of them, but I just really like this seeing the same viewpoint. So we've got spring, summer, autumn and winter. Seeing them at the different times of the year just really appealed to me. So this is the one I decided to go for. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy. I had originally thought, oh, it's too late to be starting the summer one. You know, autumn's just around the corner. And they're, you know, these are pretty much full coverage. There's a lot of stitches in it. I think these are 39 by 39. So when you multiply that up for, it's a reasonable amount for a small stitch. But I am loving it. I've just got the water to do in this one. And I've got until, well, what about the 21st, is it 20th, 21st, 22nd? I can't remember the official autumn equinox to do it before I start the next one, autumn. So I've got loads of time over the next 3 weeks to do this before I start the next one. And then the next one I've got 3 months before it needs to be finished. So yeah, you'll see that I have got mine oriented slightly differently. Rather than do them the way they are here with that big gap in the middle, I've just moved them around so that we've got one at the top, one at the bottom, and then the 2 just nestle in nicely, and then they will go in an offset square frame and physical frame as well. So yeah, I love it. It's a bit distorted there because it's kind of pulled slightly, but oh, it makes my heart happy. I could happily carry on and stitch all 4 of those one after the other because they're just such a lovely stitch. I've got another one that I'm starting in the next couple of weeks, which is completely different, but I've got a huge list of projects out of the book and loads from Etsy. It's an online store that begins with E. I was almost there, excuse me. Yeah, I'm absolutely understanding the whole pigeon coop stitching joy, and how relaxing and meditative and in the zone they are, and what a genius Max Pigeon is. It just, yeah. I'm a bit tardy to the party. I should have been starting these. You know, I had the book as soon as it came out. I've had lots of ones downloaded of Etsy. But yeah, just, you know what it's like. There's too many charts and not enough time. So I am tardy to the party, but I'm very happy that I'm here now. So I've only got 2 charts, whips to share with you now. If you were here last month, you would have heard me talk about how I've got a lot of seasonal whips. Pretty much most of them. I think there's a couple of Easter ones and another couple of little seasonal smalls and stuff. Most of them are Halloween and Christmas. I've got loads of Halloween whips and loads of Christmas whips, and loads more ready to start. I'm just trying to find a space in the rotation for. So I decided last month that on the 25th of the month I am going to stitch on Christmas projects, or a Christmas project. Take one out of storage once a month to do that, because the seasonal ones I don't kind of consider as normal whips. I think when I started this year I only had about 4 whips. It's about 10 times that now plus. So yeah, I don't think of them in my normal whips. They're seasonal. I'll stitch on them for seasons. And Halloween and Christmas should, in theory, get 2 hits a year, for halfway to Halloween in May and Jolly July. So they should both see two visits a year, but I'm aware that most of these projects won't be finished for several years. And as I've spoken before, it's trying to find the balance between all these seasonal ones that I'm really excited to have out for seasonal decor and normal ones. So my thought was I'll do the 25th of the month, I'll have a Christmas, because it's the 25th, and then the last day of the month I'll do a Halloween, because obviously Halloween's the 31st, but there isn't a 31st in all the months. I think there's 7 out of the 12 months have got a 31st. So my thought would be the last stitching day of the calendar month. So this month, my Christmas stitch was this one. This is Wonderful Time of the Year by Country Cottage Needleworks. I started this last month. It's got a companion piece on the same fabric, which is Petit Point Light Top Lagana. It's a 32 count Zweigart, and this white, I don't know if I can get it close enough. It's if you can see it, it's, I'm not sure if it's getting properly in focus there. It's like white printed, but it's not like a fabric fair printed. It's like dots of paint, so they kind of, it's not thick dots, but there is kind of like a bit of crackle to it when you're stitching on it, but it just looks lovely. It just looks like falling snow. So the last time you saw this, I had these words in. I had 3 of the hearts and 2 of the gingerbread men, and just, yeah, about half of this top evergreen bowing. So I have finished that top bit. I've got a picture here of it, and that's it there. So yeah, I finished the top half of it, and that actually puts me 53.72%. Sorry, I've not been boring you with all the statistics as we go. I've got them all written down, but I could tell you that the Quebec seasons is at 19.43%, but it's not going to change your day in any way. But this one is now just over halfway. I would quite like to get this one at least finished this year. I would say it's achievable. Cutting a half out of the picture. So that was my Christmas stitch for this month. And my Halloween stitch for this month is dedicated to Catherine from Accounting My Stitches, because she has literally just started this chart. It's Primrose Cottage, it's Halloween letters. I started this back in May for halfway to Halloween. It's not a huge start. I'm now at a whole 20.69%. I couldn't tell you how many stitches I've added this month because I didn't make a note of it at the start of the month, but I'm now 1,380 stitches, and that's it here. Catherine and I were chatting about it. I was saying how my fabric is lovely, but it's a challenging stitch. I was telling you earlier about the blueberry, the fibre on a whim that I'd got, that the Botanical Bee and Ladybug Picnic are stitched on. How I'd got it for Halloween, but it just was nowhere near as intense. You know what it's like, even weave tends to come through an awful lot paler than the linens and the Adas do. It just doesn't hold the dye anywhere near as nicely. So I had over dyed it. So this has been over dyed and over dyed. And it was a 32 count to start with, and it's now a tight 32 count. So it's a slower stitch, but it's lovely. I'm so happy with it. So because Catherine and I were chatting about it, I thought I would choose it to be my August Halloween stitch. So the last time you saw this, I had all but a little bit of the outline, that bottom corner of the W done. So I finished that, and I've done the E and the N, and I've started, there's an O there as well. You'll see it there. So that shows so much clearer, but I just love this fabric. I love it. I've changed the colours of that dark purple already. I'm using the called for DMCs, but that purple I've swapped out 327 for 552, and the green I've swapped out 732 for 166, just because they work better on this fabric. Like I say, that purple is disappearing now, but it is on a particularly dark part of the fabric, although there are dark parts all over, so it might appear in the same again. It does show up slightly better in real life. So yeah, that was my Halloween stitch for August. So that is all my my stitching. That's 19 projects. Oh look, we're over an hour. My plans moving forward. I've kind of spoken a little bit about plans that I have for things there. You won't be seeing any of them in September. Some of them might come back into rotation in October, because I said I'm trying to balance the seasonal stitches with the everyday stitches that I really want to do, and I've got so many kitted up and I'm desperate to start, but I need to try and get a couple off the list. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. I need to get a couple off the list so that I can start those. So you won't see any of those next couple of times. The best part of September stitching is this is the month that Jason and I start our stitch along of gathering acorns, the Cottage Garden sampling. We start that on Monday the 21st of September, so you've got loads of time to get yourself organised if you would like to join us. Jason and I are stitching it. I think Tommy from Tommy Creates is stitching as well, and I know the three of us have got different plans for the chart. We're going to take it in different directions. I don't know what the other two are going to do. I know what I want to do. I'm not sure how to make that happen. I haven't figured out how I'm going to get what's in my head done. It might work, it might not. It's an adventure. All at the end of the day is fabric and floss. I'm not really going to lose anything in the meantime. Excuse me if I just rearrange myself. So yeah, I've got an idea of what I want to do. I'm kind of like solidifying. I've still got a couple of things I'm not quite sure about, but very, very excited to start that with lovely Jason. We'll have more information for you in the next little while. But really all you need to know is that we're using the Gathering Acorns chart with a squirrel sitting on top of the acorns in the bowl, starting the 21st of September, and do with it what you want. You can stitch it exactly as it is, you can change your colour schemes, anything goes, because we're all kind of like looking at it as a jumping off point. So yeah, really excited to stitch with two of my friends. Very, very excited about that. I'm very excited to be working alongside really creative people. I'm so looking forward to seeing what they come up with. Even if I do feel I'm kind of batting above my weight stitching alongside them. But yeah, it's going to be fun. So that's a big plan for September. What else have I got? I've got a note here as well in a different place. I need to get my Emerald City and my Stitchy Stuff Sal's up to date. Finish that summer diamond for Quebec seasons, and then start autumn at the end of the month. I've got several new starts planned. Lots of things. I actually, yesterday, 1st of September, I had 2 starts and finishes within the same day. A little smalls, they're not FFO'd. But I did Bent Creek leaf flag, and I did a little Robin Pickens acorn freebie. That I changed the chart around to see how I wanted to stitch it, and I just used literal offcuts of fabric and leftover floss. I think it was all Weeks Dye Works. So yeah, I did those 2 yesterday to kind of start the month off in a positive way. So yeah, plenty of autumn stitching planned. I'm just so excited to get into it. I really want to finish Cottage Garden Samplings Reindeer. I'm not saying I want to finish it. I'm going to finish it. That will be finished this month. That is the one definite, absolute, underlined, non-negotiable. That is going to get finished. Watch me say that and then something happen. And all those plans just not work. I'm hoping to have 3 mostly small stitches. 2 of them will be small, one of them's a bit bigger. Pieces that will fit in with 3 ongoing sals, quite informal ones. They're kind of like stitch what matches the theme. There's Which Will You Stitch, run by Christy, not Krista, I'm sorry, Christy, who is on Flosstube here as Java Girl, and her friend Anna. We've got Fall for Foxes, which is run by Wild Fox Stitchery and Forest Cronecrafts, and Jen at Jen's Fibre Web is running a stitch along called Gonna Be Owl Right Sal. So I'd like to just, even if it's only small little things, I'd like to do something to participate in those. Speaking of seasonal smalls, I need your advice. I need your suggestions, people. I found this frame in TK Maxx. Ailey and I were shopping 2-3 weeks ago, and I found this and I just fell in love with it, and it had to come home with me. I would like to do a skeleton stitch to go in it, but I am struggling to find one that's the right size. Everything I'm coming up with is either too small or too big. It's not the biggest of frames. I'll take it back here, you can see. I'm looking at something about 40 by 60 stitches. Like I say, it's a reasonably narrow oval. It's not a chubby oval. So yeah, about 40 wide by 60 tall. If you have any suggestions for a skeleton that would fit in there, preferably one that's not just all white, a little bit of grayscale would be quite nice. That would be wonderful. I'm thinking I'm going to stitch it on Black Ada, because I can't bear the thought of anything, even Black Adas. I don't like stitching on black. And I don't like stitching in white floss and white floss on black fabric. But yeah, I did think a skeleton might go quite nice because we've got the skull sitting at the top there. I do have a couple of possibilities for non-skeleton, non-bones, things that would go in the middle of it. And if I didn't use black, I could possibly go slightly bigger if I went to a 32 count instead of a 28 count even weave. But as I said, that I'm trying to think, I don't even know if I've got anything grey. I don't know if I've got anything in a 32. I think everything I've got is 28 grey wise. But yes, if you have any suggestions for a nice little Halloween stitch that would fit in there, that's about 40 by 60 stitches, that would fit in an oval, so obviously it can't be 40 along the top, that's 40 at the widest and 60 at the longest. I'd be really interested to hear your suggestions and come up with something. I won't be stitching it till October, but if I need to get a chart or anything and flosses or anything like that, I would very much appreciate any suggestions. Not just skeletons, but that's what I thought about. But any suggestions, please drop them down below. I would be so very happy to read, and I'll probably end up with far too many that I can't decide because I'm so indecisive. But it's better having too many to choose from than not enough. So that's that. So that's all my plans. Berry Razzlers. I've got some lovely ones to share with you today. Some are people I've mentioned before, and I mentioned them here for a reason. There's some people that they'd celebrated, and I've got some new people that I have been watching but haven't mentioned here before, and I have got I've got a new stitcher, but I've got another one which isn't on my list. Who was that? Let me see, I've got my iPad here because I had a note on my iPad. Let me have a look. Yes, I've got two that I've missed off my list. Right, that's okay. We can do that. So yeah, I'll try to be quick because I'm aware that time's ticking on. So I'll try to be a mixture of quick with also giving these people the attention and admiration that they deserve. So the first thing I want to say before anything else is thank you to all the lovely floss tubers out there who have given me a shout out in their floss tubes. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. It is just so lovely. Some of them, or some of you, are people who I've mentioned here before. Some are people who are new to me. People who I've yet to mention. There's lots of floss tubes for me ahead that I've got the opportunity to mention them yet. But yes, I've had some really lovely shout outs, and I am so appreciative and so grateful. It's really kind of you. And as I said, I think it was the last time, sometimes I don't recognise myself in what you're saying because you're just so kind. I kind of need to find my checkbook and get a check in the post to you because you really are so lovely. But I just wanted to do a kind of a group shout out to all of you for just being so lovely, for embracing me and passing me forward, and supporting my channel. It's lovely. Thank you. It's just this community. I know we all say it, and it bears repeating over and over and over again. This is just such a lovely, supportive, encouraging community. I'm so excited to be part of it. So let's get on with this, because I've got, where are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 people, I think, to mention, because I've kind of mentioned a couple in passing, as I've been talking about stitches, like I should have said when I was talking about the people who had I'd seen their versions of Ladybug Picnic, and I mentioned Sarah from Stitching with Sarah W, handmade by Sarah W, who showed her finished version of Ladybug Picnic. She also showed a version of her finish of Botanical Bee, and I should have mentioned it at the time when I was talking about Botanical Bee, because again, they're wonderful, but she stitched them on different fabric counts, and it was really good to see the two next to each other, to see how different they look just on a different count fabric. I kind of enjoyed that, and I should have mentioned that earlier, so I'm sorry. But if the people I mentioned, I can't think, I think at least 2 of them I'm mentioning again here for other reasons as well. Yeah, I've got 2 of them on my list here for other reasons as well. So let's just crack on. The first 3 people I have to mention, they've got lovely stitching and all that, and one in particular has got a project I really like. But these are 3 people who have had reason to celebrate lately, and I want to celebrate them and give them a shout out, and congratulations. So congratulations belatedly to lovely Laura of Butterfly Stitches / Cotton and Clay for her birthday. Happy belated birthday. Now, those of you who have watched Laura's Floss Tubes will know what a lovely, lovely, lovely person she is. She's warm and kind and generous of her soul, and she's just one of life's good ones. And it sounds like she's had a lovely birthday, and she's been celebrated by lots of people who love her. And I've given her really generous, thoughtful gifts, stitchy-related gifts, which is really nice. So yeah, she deserves a happy birthday. She also deserves a shout out because Laura has put together, started a few weeks ago, she did like a summer stitching boxes, and it was almost like a summer advent where you opened a box. I think it was weekly through the summer, and it was pretty much to help get a lot of people through the summer. The long summer holidays as a parent can be pretty relentless and hard going when you've got little people under your feet all day to entertain. As lovely as it is to not have that routine and the rush to get out the door in the morning, the alarm clock and blah blah blah, it can also be hard work to entertain children for 6 weeks when they're used to being at school and seeing their friends and they've got activities and all that. It can be a bit of a culture shock for both sides of the equation. And if you're working as well, the logistics of trying to work childcare around your normal everyday life can be a challenge over 6 weeks of holidays. 2 weeks holidays is hard enough, but 6 weeks is a long slog. So yeah, Laura put together this summer of stitching boxes to open up a box a week, and there's been people unboxing here on Flosstube. You can go on and find them, and there's stitchy gifts in there, but there's also an emphasis on looking after yourself, investing in yourself, your mental health. I'm trying to think of the words. I'm looking at it like self-care. Some little gifts to indulge you as a person, rather than just a parent, a caregiver, a run around after her, all those kind of things. And it seems to have been a huge success. It's incredibly thoughtful and such a lovely idea. So I want to give Laura a shout out for that, for being such a kind and thoughtful person, that she recognised that the summer is not always sunshines and blowing bubbles and paddling pools and all that. It can actually be stress and relentless for some people as well. Well, for most people, it's hard going. I also want to shout out, she's got a fabulous piece in her latest floss tube, Barbara Anna, called 22 Balloons. She's recently started it. It's fab. Really caught my eye. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I've yet to stitch a Barbara Anna. I've been quite tempted with a fox one recently. It's kind of lovely, but I quite like this balloons as well. It would be between the fox, the coastal girl, I don't know the name of it, and this 22 balloons. So I'm really looking forward to her bringing that to life over the next few weeks and months. Yeah, excited. The next person I wanted to give a shout out to as a congratulation is lovely Crystal, PNW Crafter, who has just celebrated her first Flossiversary. I've been watching Crystal from the start. I think she's wonderful. She does gorgeous stitching. She's never met a Primrose Cottage she didn't like, but she does lots of other things as well. All sorts of different styles and genres of cross stitch, and she often shows quilting that she's done, bags, project bags that she made. She recently did a whole set of bags and all sorts of things for a retreat that she went to. And she shows knitting as well. I can't knit to save my life, but I love watching her, these fabulous socks that she makes. So yeah, she's just had her first Flossiversary. And if you haven't watched Crystal, please go and watch her, because she's lovely. She's so enthusiastic. And she's just so, oh, I can't think of the word. She's just, her enthusiasm kind of like rubs off. She does lots of stitching. She does small, she does big pieces. There's something that everybody's going to love in there. And I kind of can't help but feel that she's one of those people who the algorithm gods are just not as kind to as they should be. She deserves more attention than she gets. I'm a loyal follower, and I would really like it if some of you went across and saw just how fab she is, because she is. So that's Crystal, PNW Crafter. And the last person I've got here on my celebrating for a reason list is Stuart from Stuart's and Stitches. Now, Stuart has also just celebrated his first Flossiversary, and he's also just celebrated his 15th wedding anniversary. So huge congratulations to Stuart and to Carl. Really excited that you've got to 15 years and you're still head over heels, and so happy, and it comes across how happy you are, but also that your channel has really taken off in that year. Everybody loves Stuart. He had started off, was it monthly and fortnightly, and he now does a floss tube religiously every Sunday morning. Occasionally has to move the day if life gets in the way, because you know life gets in the way of all of us. But yeah, he loves the Sunday morning chat with us, and I get exactly where it's coming from. It's that's one of the reasons I was debating doing this, see if I could go weekly rather than fortnightly, because it's just lovely just having a chat with you. I know you're not talking back to me, but I feel like I'm having a conversation with friends, and I love it. So huge congratulations to Stuart on both counts. Two biggies. I do have to say Stuart is very, very naughty and very, very cheeky. He has he's made a game out of hijacking my little razzle your berries shtick. You know, it's part of my floss tube. I do one every time that people who have razzled my berries, shout outs for floss tubers. And he has kind of turned it into a game that he has to get that phrase into every floss tube he does. And it's kind of like he teases me about it. He's so cheeky, but Stuart is so good with words. He has a fabulous accent, fabulous way of talking, and he's really good at words. He's very eloquent, and has a really good turn of phrase. So he's more than capable of coming up with his own little saying, his kind of yeah, his own little thing. But he likes mine. So I'm taking that as a huge compliment, that somebody who is so good with words likes my words. Thank you, Stuart. But you are really naughty. So yeah, if you want to see a fabulous range of all sorts of different type of stitches, Stuart's your man. Like I say, every Sunday morning he will post, and he has all sorts. Huge projects, small projects, fancy ladies, full coverage, samplers. There's not, I think, a stitch out there that Stuart would not give a go. He has really eclectic taste, and there's plenty for anybody to go and be happy about. And it's all served with a side order of humour and banter. So you'll enjoy watching Stuart. So that's three people who have all had something exciting, a celebration in the last few weeks. So congratulations to Laura, Crystal and Stuart. The next person I've got on my list here is somebody very special. I count her as a friend, and she's just lovely. That's Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner. Mary is just one of the loveliest people I've ever had the privilege to meet. She's very sweet. She's just wonderful. I love chatting with her. She's a Scot transplanted to the States years and years ago. So has a kind of fab mix of both accents. But Mary doesn't get to post floss tubes as often as she would like. Life kind of makes the decisions about when she does get to post. So it's not as often. I mean, she could post every day and I'd be delighted. So I get really, really excited when I get a notification that Mary has posted a floss tube, because her stitching is just exquisite. Her finishes are exquisite. We share the same taste in the kind of things we stitch. Got very, very similar taste. Stitch a lot the same kind of things. She's way ahead of me, obviously. I'm only a couple of years into this journey. And I mourn the years lost that I could have been stitching all those projects that could have been done by now. That is what it is. But yeah, so I've got a lot of things kitted that she's already stitched. And I love watching her. I really do thoroughly enjoy watching what her stitches are, apart from the fact that she's a friend and I enjoy her company and enjoy her leathers. Her stitching is just fabulous. In her latest video that she's just posted a few days ago, she has got a finish of Jardin Privé's Composition Florale. I've had that kitted for ages and I've never yet got round to starting it. There's always something. A lot of it's been seasonal this last few months. There's always something that kind of like pushes it down the list. But between Mary's gorgeous finish of it and also Felicia at Mouse Potato Designs, who has also just recently finished it in her very unique way. If you know Felicia at all, you'll know that she's never met a French knot that she doesn't like. And she's fabulous at adapting charts to her own thing. She'll take alphabets. She doesn't see the point in repeating lots of stitches of alphabets, and Composition Florale has more than one alphabet in it. Because, I would like to think that most of us know our alphabets now, and she feels very same. So between the two of them, they're just like, I need to start this, I need to start this, I need to start this. So Mary has just shared her fabulous finish of it, which I thoroughly enjoyed seeing, and it really is giving me a kick up the backside to get going on my own one. So this is why I'm so keen to try and get some things off the whip list so that I can start introducing some more new projects. What else has she done? She showed an FFO, a framed finish of Shepherd's Bush, the Spooky Notes, which is lovely. I mention this because I also need to ask another favour of you, fabulous Flosstube friends, in my phone. Does anybody know where I can get a copy of the Easter notes from Shepherd's Bush? I have 11 of the charts, and Easter is the 12th one that I need, and I'm desperately trying to find it, and I can't find it. Everybody that I've spoken to is trying to get their hands on it themselves. Nimble Thimble, Create Nostalgia, 12368. It appears to be on back order everywhere. Lovely Chris at Nimble Thimble thought she was going to have it this week, delivered Tuesday, Wednesday, so today, tomorrow, or in your time, kind of tomorrow, and then messaged to say that no, the buttons were coming, but the chart was out of stock. For some reason, this chart has become really difficult to get your hands on. I have found people selling it in the States shops, but the carriage, the postage to get this A4 sheet of card from the States to Scotland is 3 times the amount, the cost of the chart itself, which is just absolute daylight robbery. An $8 chart is costing $24, $25 minimum to post. Just blows my mind. So if anybody knows of anywhere that has a copy of Easter notes from Shepherd's Bush, that's not going to cost me an arm, a leg and half my liver to have delivered, please could you let me know down below in a comment, or if you know anybody who is selling one on the second-hand market that I don't know about, I would very much appreciate it. So I've kind of hijacked Mary's shout out because I knew there was something I meant to ask you, and that was it. So yeah, she got this fabulous finish off the spooky notes in a perfect frame. It goes so well. And the other thing that, I mean, she showed so many, because I think it's been a couple of months, 2.5 months since she last recorded. So she's had lots of stitching in that time, and lots of beautiful, beautiful stitching, plenty of finishes, plenty of FFOs, plenty of whips. So she had a lot to show, and so there's lots that I could shout out. But the other one that really made me happy was she's stitching the Little Dove sampler, What Is Meant to Be Will Always Be, which is quite a modern take on a traditional sampler. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, joyful stitch, really vibrant and pretty. It's ever so nice. She's stitching that, and she was saying how it reminds her of a very dear special aunt who used to say, what's meant for you won't go by you. And that just really resonated with me, because that's a saying that I have used my entire life. What's meant for you won't go by you, or what's meant for you won't go past you. And it's something I've said to Ailey repeatedly. You know, if things don't go quite the way you want them to, or you're disappointed about something, it's like, if it's meant to be, it will happen. And if it hasn't happened, it's because it's not meant to be, and there's something better around the corner. What is destined for you will find you. What's meant for you won't go by you. And I just love when she mentioned that, because that was what her aunt used to say, and how very fond of her aunt she was. That just really resonated with me and made me happy. So thank you, Mary. You have made my heart happy, as you always do. So yeah, last few. I'll do this one off my iPad before I forget. These, one of them is a brand new floss tuber. The other is a brand new to me. I'm saying that because I've got another two to come on after that. Stitching with Sandy is a new one to me. Established floss tuber. The algorithm just dropped into my homepage, and I'm very glad they did. Thoroughly enjoyed watching her. She's got lovely, lovely stitches. The piece that kind of jumped out at me was she's done the hands-on design. She's done several hands-on design pieces, because they're fabulous, fabulous projects. We all know this. But she's done the cat block, and I just loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed watching her finish, her talk about her finish of that. I could be quite tempted with that one. I've never done a block, but there's that one, and there's a coastal one as well, a seaside one. I could be very, very tempted. I'm not sure if I'd do a good job of finishing it. I suppose you don't know if you don't try. But I thoroughly enjoyed watching Sandy. And the other person I've got on my iPad, how they didn't end up on my bits of paper, I don't know, is Astrid, who is a new floss tuber. Her channel is Adorable Hobby. Astrid is from Peru, but she lives in Japan. She loves cross stitch. She loves different styles of cross stitch, and she's one of another one actually who should have been on my list for Ladybug Picnic, because she has got Ladybug Picnic in her floss tube. So there's another one. I honestly, I can't move for Ladybug Picnics at the moment. So yeah, so because that jumped out at me now that I think about it. She's got lots of projects that are right up my street. But I have to give her a shout out for another reason as well. This is so cool. She stitches, she films her floss tubes in 2 languages. As I say, she's Peruvian living in Japan. She films in English and she films in Spanish. More power to you. That's fabulous. And she's obviously a native Spanish speaker, but her English you'd never know. She's really, really a fluent English speaker. And she's very clever. She does an intro to the video where she chats away to you, as I am to you. And then she switches to a top down to show you all her projects, which she must record once, and then she does a, what's the word? Words are hard. like a soundtrack. I cannot think of the word to save my life. But she does a talk over in the 2 languages, obviously. So she does the introduction and that in both, does them separately, and then the rest of it. And I just think that's proper dedication to do your floss tube in 2 languages with fabulous stitches. So yeah, go and find Astrid at Adorable Hobby. You won't be disappointed as a new floss tuber. She's done 3 floss tubes in the last, well, it must be 3 weeks. I think she's planning weekly. And she's quite a prolific stitcher. She's got lots of plans for things that she wants to stitch, and she doesn't give herself a huge turnaround on the time. So she, she's planning on getting things done. Another new to me is Carissa, Low Country Needleworker. She's recently changed the name of her channel. It was K Threads and Stitches, but she's changed it to Low Country Needleworker, just to kind of reflect a new stage in her life. There was one of her projects in particular that jumped out at me. It's an FFO of Be Anxious for Nothing by My Big Toe. Now, you know that I'm stitching in My Big Toe, the Serenity-ish prayer. And I've also got another My Big Toe as a secret stitch, which I actually really need to get some work done on. I quite like their style. I'm not a hugely religious person, so the Bible verses are not necessarily something that I will stitch, but I can recognise the beauty in them when I see them. And this Be Anxious for Nothing is a quote from a Bible verse. And her FFO of it is fabulous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's not a huge piece, but she's finished it in a frame that you would think would be really outsize for the size of the stitch. The frame's huge. It almost looks like, it's not because it's not as big, but it looks like a shrunk down version of an old a cupboard front from a kitchen unit that is, it's really rustic. The paint is peeling off. It's white paint pulling off, and it's really distressed and rustic looking, but it's got that kind of shape, that kind of frame that you'd find on a bit of carpentry on a kitchen cupboard door. And then this stitch just fits in the middle of it. When you think of the elements independently, it's hard to think how it would work, but it's just so fab. It's such a beautiful finish. Yeah, absolutely thrilled by that. Really, really liked seeing that. She's had lots of other finishes. Again, some really nice Cherryhill Stitchery. I'm trying to think what else there is. There was lots. And I have to give her a shout out as well, because she has just launched her first cross stitch design on her Etsy page, and it's really, really lovely. It's a set of 2 charts. The first has a house with sunflowers and a quote from a Bible verse, and the other one has a lady with sunflowers and a pot of plants and a watering can. So you could do all 3 elements together. You could do them individually. They're really nice, quite simple, quite stylized, really nice. They're beautiful designs. She's done a really good job of charting them, and she shows them as finishes, and they're fabulous finishes. So I just wanted to wish Carissa luck, because the designs you put out are fabulous, and I wish you every success with your Etsy shop and with your designing in the future, because I really like what you've got there. So all the best moving forward. And the last person I've got to shout out is one who needs no introduction. I would imagine most of you will have come across lovely, lovely Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher. A fabulous stitcher. She's a giggle to watch as well. And her kittens, her furball friends, which of course I thoroughly enjoy seeing, as mischievous as they can be. But I wanted to give Beth a shout out for one stitch in particular she showed in her latest video. And it's a long dog sampler, but it's not a long dog sampler that we would tend to think of as a long dog sampler. you know, if you say long dog, you tend to think of the monochrome, those really big, detailed pieces that some people stitch monochromatically. Some people will do different elements in different colours. You know, you're looking at things like Saga and that kind of thing. What else is there? There's Pandemic. There's loads. There's the most recent one that I saw stitched that I hadn't come across before was Tap Dancers. And they've all got all these little elements and little critters hidden in them and everything. You know what I mean when I talk about like a long dog sampler. That's what comes to mind. And this one is completely different from that. She showed us her whip, her progress on a chart called Spangled. And it's very different. This is much more of a traditional sampler with the house and baskets and trees and flowers, and there's critters hidden in there as well. You know, lots and lots of colours. It's funny, at first glance it looks like it's autumnal hues, but then when you look at it closer, it's kind of got a spring vibe going on as well. But the thing that really jumped out at me is this glorious, thick, dense border around it that's jam-packed full of dozens and dozens of different coloured quilt block stars. It's just fab. I hadn't seen this before. If I'd looked at it, I wouldn't have realised it was a long dog unless I was told. And it's the first time I've seen it, and I just loved it. So I wanted to give a shout out to that. For anybody who hasn't seen that kind of that design from Long Dog, it's very different, and it's fab. It's absolutely fab. It's a huge amount of work, a crazy amount of stitching in it, but it's wonderful. So that is Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher. Yeah, so that's a long list of my people who have razzled my berries in the last couple of weeks since we last spoke. There are so many people out there who just do the most amazing stitching. I know I talk about them at length. They deserve nothing less, and I could sit here and do the same amount of people again without thinking about it. I actually end up having to stop myself watching Flosstube because I have so many people. I'm like, no, enough, stop, and then I can come back at it fresh after I've recorded, because there's just so many people. A lot of them are people who are established Flosstubers that I just haven't come across yet. You know, by the time I catch up with the people that I regularly watch, there's just not enough hours in the day, and there's so many fabulous Flosstubers out there. That, yeah, and sometimes you just stumble across an absolute goldmine of talent and loveliness and wonderful people. And yeah, so yeah, I know I probably go on longer about the people who've razzled my berries than I have to, but they absolutely deserve it, and I want to tell you about the things that I have seen that have made me happy and have brought joy to my time as I am sitting stitching and watching Flosstube. Although sometimes I have to say I shouldn't sit and watch Flosstube and stitch at the same time, because yeah, that sometimes can result in a visit from the frog, because I'm not paying full attention to what I'm doing. So yeah, all that leaves us left with now is our Scottish word of the day, or the Scottish word of the Flosstube. And I have been in trouble from Ailey because I haven't used this word yet. I haven't told you about this word yet. And it's a really simple one. It's one that, you know, we use in everyday conversation. She is our bairn. She is the bairn. Bairn. She answers to all of these things. Yeah, I mean, Ailey has a huge amount of nicknames. Offspring. Sometimes, Offspring, what are you doing? But yeah, she's the bairn. She's our bairn. Bairn is child. It's as simple as that. I think it's a word that's also used in the northeast of England as well. It's not particular to Scotland, but here it's common conversation. You don't say children, it's the bairns. So yeah, and she's like, you haven't mentioned me yet. She's been mentioned plenty. She did offer, bless her little heart, to let me show you her stitching, because she's absolutely embraced it. I'm not going to stick with one whip. I'm going to do so. She's doing something different again. She's actually doing a really good job. You know, if she gets a quiet day, we've had some really, really lovely stitchy days, just the two of us, because Bruce has been away, where we'll actually just put the world on hold. We'll not look at phones and iPads and Instagram and all, and you know, none of that. And we'll just sit and stitch and blether. And she can quite happily knock out over 1,000 stitches a day. She's a natural. She's really taken to it. So yeah, she's like, you can show my stuff if you want to, but I'm hoping that one day she might come on and show you herself, and we'll get a visit from the bairn. But yeah, because she's like, why haven't you said yet? She's like, as soon as I came back, I thought bairn would be the next word that you would use, but then all that technical stuff happened, and scunnerd became the word, and then Pedro came to stay, and puddock became the word. So for you, darling girl, bairn is the word of the day. And also, I have to say, you know, I'm talking about rainbow crossing and all that. Pets are your hairy bairns, be it cats, dogs, horses, hamsters, your hairy bairns. I've never heard anybody call fish like a scaly bairn. I suppose in theory it could be, but yes, your pets are your hairy bairns. So it simply means child. It's as easy as that. Another word that also means child, more so for Glaswegians. It's not in as common use throughout the whole of Scotland, but more so for Glaswegians is wean, which is a kind of a derivative of wee one, wean. And depending on the accent, it's pronounced different ways by different people. And when I was thinking about this, it just reminded me of a story, and that happened to me. Now, when would it have been? Late 90s. I moved to Germany with my ex, with the Air Force, in 96, May 1996. And shortly after we got there, because he'd gone out about 6 weeks ahead of me, and kind of got the house, because it took a while to get allocated a house, and we had the most fabulous house. We weren't in quarters, we were in this hiring in this beautiful, beautiful German town, Kevlar. Oh, it was just fabulous. So he kind of went out, and I got all the removals done, and I was doing an evening class doing a higher human biology. I had my exam to sit and finish work and all that kind of stuff, so I followed him out. So he'd got to know lots of people, but he was out there before I got there. So he was gradually introducing me to people, so that I got to know folk and kind of have a friend base and people to talk to and all that kind of thing. And he took me to visit a family. Husband, wife, 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And they were lovely. Glaswegians, broad Glaswegians in their accents, really broad. So they were lovely. I had a fabulous time chatting with them, playing with the kids, that kind of thing. So that was fine. So then one of the other ladies that I got to know, I was saying that I'd been to meet them, and this was all, a lot of the husbands worked together, so that kind of everybody knew everybody. It was a bit like Flosstube in that everybody was each other's family and support. So I, saying that we'd been to visit this couple and their family. She says, oh, they really confused me to start with. She said, when I first met them, she said, they were talking about their son, about Nguyen. And she said, that was fine. And then she said they were talking about their daughter. Now, this person was from the south of England, very, different accent. She said, they were talking about son, and then they were talking about the daughter. And I just couldn't understand it. She said, why would you call both your son and your daughter Wayne? She thought they were, both the son and the daughter were Wayne. They were actually talking about their Waynes. Their Waynes. I can't remember the children's names now. Well, they're adults now. Gosh, that's not far off 30 years ago. How did that happen? But yes, that this Southern English woman had been so confused by this Glaswegians talking about their children, about the Waynes, that she thought they were both called Wayne. Why would you call both your son and your daughter Wayne? So that was just an aside. So yeah, today's Scottish word of the day for you is bairn. Something that I probably most days will say. So yeah, that's another one for you to add to your vocabulary. I hope you've all got like a little notebook in your head and writing down your vocabulary and doing that thing you do at school when you use it in a sentence. Speaking of which, if you're ever not sure, I do put the words down below so that you can see the spelling of them. So yeah, so you don't have to guess, because I know sometimes accents make things different and things don't necessarily sound phonetically how they're written, whatever, so I do put it down below. So yeah, that's your Scottish word of the video. So oh gosh, I keep trying to do these videos shorter, and here we are, coming up to hour and 50 minutes. So I shall say my goodbyes. I hope you have enjoyed spending time with me. I have thoroughly enjoyed spending time with you. I always do. This makes me really happy. I spend hours and hours and hours stressing about it beforehand and getting everything prepped and writing notes and getting my projects together, and then ages trying to sort everything out afterwards and tidy up. It really is quite an endeavour. But that's just, I mean, I could do it quicker, I'm sure, but that's just how I like to do it. But I thoroughly enjoy this time. Part of me is really tempted to go once a week. I'm not going to do that for the next little while at least. I've been thinking ahead, long-term plans for how I'm going to approach stitching next year. And I want to make some changes in how I do things. And at that point maybe. But certainly September, October, I've got no intention of probably changing from every fortnight or twice a month, mid-month, and then a monthly recap. But I love this time. I know I'm talking to nobody. I'm talking to an empty room, but I really do feel like I'm having a conversation with kindred spirits and good people. So thank you for spending time with me, for getting this far through it. I really do appreciate it. For those of you who've made it this far, who are new, well done. I would send you a medal if I could. But all I can do is ask that if you have enjoyed our time, which I'm hoping that you would have, if you've got this far. I'm thinking if you were miserable and not liking anything, you would have long since liked it. But if you want to like this video, that would be very, very, very appreciated. If you want to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to do an Anita Ward and ring my bell, that way you'll get told if I post again, which will be in another couple of weeks. Yeah, but that's us for now. That's my August recap, all my stitching, 19 projects, 31 days worth of stitching. I don't do totals of how many stitches, but yeah, quite a productive month. So let's hope that September brings lots of stitching for all of us, lots of good things for all of us, all the things that make our hearts and souls happy, and being with the people who bring us joy as well. I wish you health. I wish you the joys of the birds, the best time of the year. And I will see you in a couple of weeks. Until then, take good care, be kind to yourself, and be kind to everybody else too. Kindness costs nothing. Yeah, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.